Well, good morning, everybody. Hi. This is somewhat of an experiment today because you can see the invisible band that's with me. But it's just a great theme. We're continuing our month of wholeness. And you're going to have to help me the band because of all weeks that I was going to teach you a new song. It's not as easy as some, but you'll get it, no problem. It's this week. And the first song we're going to do is really what I was inspired to do it by Jamaica's talk last week about just you change your way you look at yourself. Don't have to be captured and live by things you taught or thought you learned. And I've got several songs. Couple of them are mine, so I shouldn't say my favorite writers, but these are my favorite writers. This is an Eddie Watkins Jr. song, and that's the solo. And the next slide that is your part, and I will just show you, and then we're going to try to learn it because it's worth learning this song. And the song goes like this: I'm walking away from the feeling that held me for so long. Every day I walk away. I'm walking away from that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. So you're going to get that, and that'll come up in the congregation, and I'll do my best to be the band and sing with you. But you want to learn this song, I tell you. It's a wonderful song. Every morning, the light keeps getting brighter as I wake up to the truth. And every day, I'm feeling so much lighter as the world is fresh and new. What I was taught, and the way that I thought, stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. And each day I'm letting go. From the thinking that held me for so long. Every day I walk away. I'm walking away from the thing that held me in confusion. Every day I walk away. And it does it one more time. I'm walking away from next. And every morning brings a new beginning. By grace I've got another day. I wake into the sun right upon me shining, lighting the way for me to see things that I sought, the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us, and each day I'm letting go. I'm moving away from the things that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from pain that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. Okay, we're gonna do that one more time. Walking away from less than held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from pain that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. Okay, now you know it, so we're gonna do this. Ready? I'm walking away from the listen that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the truth that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. Today is the day I walk away. Today is the day I walk away. This song will be easier for you because you know it. And it is Healed, Whole, and Healthy. Here we go. I am well. Love surrounding me. I am here, whole and healthy. I've got love surrounding me. I am here, whole and healthy. I am well.
Thank you, Chip. That was wonderful. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Jamaica Wallace. I am the board president and a practitioner here, and it is my honor and privilege to welcome everyone this morning. Reverend Steve is on a little vacation. I know he's joining us from Zoom, so we're sending our love out to him. But we have a wonderful guest speaker. We have Reverend Stephanie Clark, and I have a wonderful message for us. But before we get into that, let's start what we start every Sunday with, and that is reading our vision mission statement together. It says, "We are an open, loving, spiritual community dedicated to evolving consciousness through teaching spiritual principles." And I have just a few brief announcements. Just a little reminder that these are posted over on the cork board over here, and it's also in your e-news. So if you're not signed up to get the e-news, there's a sign-up sheet on the back counter there. But this comes out once a week and keeps you in the loop of what's going on here in our center. There was a community letter that went out in the e-news that is available in print on the back counter. If you don't get the e-news and you'd like that printed, or if you do get the e-news and you'd like it printed, it's back there for you. We have our summertime gathering is continuing to meet, the summertime spirit gathering. This meets the second and fourth Thursday of the month through the summer, and our next gathering is going to be Thursday, July the 23rd, and that one will be led by our practitioner, Janet Murray. And it begins at 6 p.m. And we have continuing, our meditation group is continuing to meet at 9:50 to 10:05 in the mornings over at the LEC. This is a silent meditation, so if you do find that you're entering after the time that it started, please just do that silently. And I think that's all we got in those announcements today. Want to thank Deborah Perdue for the beautiful flowers today. Those are from her garden. Aren't they gorgeous? So pretty. And do we have anybody that's joining us here today for the first time? Beautiful. Welcome. We're so glad to have you here. We do have a gift for you. And please stay afterwards. We'd love to have you join us for some refreshments and get to know you a little bit better. Anybody have any cell phones or anything else that makes any noise? Let's go ahead and put those on silent now. And then we're going to go ahead and stand up and let's just greet our neighbors, say a quick hello, and we will sing We Are One together after that.
Yay. That first song, isn't that dynamite? I mean, I had to do it. I didn't have a lot of help with the band or another singing leader, but it's worth breaking it to the group because we should do that more often. Yeah, it's a really healthy song. Thank you. What? Okay. Thank you. I had to make up for the lack of band. Yeah. And Chip. Thank you. Okay, let's all sing. We are one. We are one. I am you, you are me. We are one. And in this unity we shall live in harmony. As peace has come, as we are one. We are one. I am you, you are me. We are one. And in this unity shall live as peace has come, as we
Good morning, everyone. I'm Deborah Perdue. I'm one of the practitioners here, and I welcome you to this service. It's my joy and honor to be up here on the podium. Please join me in reading the gratitude which is on the screens. In gratitude, I honor the humanity and divinity in everyone I meet. Today, our table practitioner is Paula Peterson, and she's holding the high watch for us all. And also, we practitioners like to pray for you after the service. So if you would like a minute miracle, as we call it, see Paula, and she'll either pray herself or send you to one of the other practitioners. And please raise your hand if you're available to pray. There's 3 of us today. And also, there's blue prayer requests, which are on the seat backs. And if you want to fill out a prayer request, please do. And you can put it in the offertory or in the prayer box in the back. And also, did I say? Yeah, they're yellow. And the blue ones are for demonstrations, because we know you'll have a demonstration as we pray for you. And so fill those out too. It's wonderful to get them. And also you can send a prayer request through our website, CSL. I'm getting mixed up, so I have to make sure. grantspastcsl.org. And know that our practitioners lovingly pray over each request we receive. Let's read the prayer together on the screen. I deeply realize compassion and caring come easily when I remember the divinity of each of us. I am aware that at the center of every person's soul, God is. And now we're going to sing I Am Loved. Please remain seated. Beautiful. So I have a prayer that I want you guys to help me with. We're going to recite this together, and what'll happen is I'm going to have you recite the first part, and then I'll add to it. And this came from Reverend Michelle, who used to be our minister here. There is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed, which is a stretch to think about. However, I believe that God is within all of us. So that's how we heal, with God revealed, when we remember. So I'm going to tell you what to say first, which is, there is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. Go ahead. Be healed, only God to be revealed. And then I'm going to tell you the part that Reverend Michelle wrote. The intelligence of God is revealed as my clarity, wisdom, and my right action. And then again, there is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. The love of God is revealed through my kindness, compassion, and connection with all. Again, there is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. The peace of God is revealed as my comfort, safety, and deep inner calm. There is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. The abundance of God is revealed as the overflowing good that supports and sustains me. There is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. The beauty of God is revealed in the world I see around me, in the eyes through which I see. There is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. The harmony of God is revealed as the vitality and strength of my physical body. There is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. The joy of God is revealed as my delight in being alive. There's nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. The wholeness of God is revealed as the truth of who I am. There is nothing missing or absent. There is only the one life, forever revealing itself as me, through me, and all around me. And one more time. There is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. And so it is. So let's go into a moment of silence together, just feeling this powerful prayer. And as this time of prayer and meditation comes to a close, I absolutely know that this Grants Path Center for Spiritual Living is whole, perfect, and complete. That each of us are whole, perfect, and complete. That the message today is beautifully revealed by Rev Steph, and that there is so much joy and love and peace permeating this room and stretching out to all parts of the world. We are powerful, and I am so grateful. Thank you, God, and so it is. So it's time for special music, and then I'll come back to introduce Rev Steph, and then she'll speak for us. Thank you.
Well, it does take a village, as they say, and those of you, most of you, I think, were lucky enough to be here for Jamaica's message last week. It was really great, and it reminded me of several things that ministers who've spoken here have said, and I thought of a song I'd written a while ago, and I went around, looked for it, found it, and I thought, you know, I learned something last week. This isn't quite the right lyric, and most of it. But I would like to especially thank Jamaica and some of the other women in the congregation, frankly. For as long as you remember, what you remember is you never had the chance to take the chances that you missed. You accepted out of hand that what was handed you was fate. Lately you've been thinking that it might not be box they put you in felt like a jail. The words they hammered in like nails to every door that you tried to open, till you started to believe it when it said that you were broken. But you know that never was the case. You saw yourself in a different place. Oh, it's so hard break old patterns, but when the first crack opens, something happens, and it gets easier with time. It gets easier with time. Learn to leave the past behind. Days of dark confusion, when you thought you were losing your mind. It gets easier with illusion, then you're the one who starts choosing your life. Learn to see yourself as incomplete, broken stranger on a one-way street. The cracks are how the light gets in. When your eyes first open, change begins, and it gets easier with time. It gets easier with time. Start to read between the lines. Through the illusions, and then you're the one who's choosing your life. And when the waves come crashing over you, doubt is drowning you. You got to hold on just a little bit longer. Close your eyes and come up for breath. You can leave the rest till you feel just a little bit stronger. It's easier with time. It gets easier with time. Learn to leave the past behind. Days of dark confusion. You thought you was losing your mind, and it gets easier with time. And it gets easier with time. Through the illusions, and then you're the one who's choosing your life.
Thank you, Chip. That was beautiful. So, some of you might have been here last year in June when Rev Steph visited us and spoke, and it was amazing. And here she is again. She's a soon-to-be ordained CSL minister, international speaker, author, and visionary whose life's work is helping people transform impossible dreams into lived reality. As the founding minister of Soul Home, South Africa's first multiracial New Thought community, dedicated to healing the legacy of apartheid, she demonstrated the power of visioning to heal divisions and build a conscious spiritual community during a time of profound national transformation. Now based in Oregon, Rev Stephanie is teaching that same visioning practice in the United States through workshops and classes, inviting people to become conscious participants in America's next great chapter. Her message is that healing begins in consciousness and that each of us has a unique role in revealing a more compassionate, inclusive, and spiritually grounded future. Stephanie is the author of Pray It Forward, an interfaith toolkit for courage, compassion, and resilience in turbulent times, The Misadventures of an Irreverent Reverend, The Sex Goddess, and Miracle Making. She is currently writing a new book on visioning to heal America. You can see Rev Steph after the service at the table in the back for books. So, welcome, Rev Steph.
Good morning, everybody. Lovely to be here again, and thank you for inviting me, Deborah. Can you hear me okay? Does it sound good? Okay, great. So, whenever I speak in America, excuse me, someone eventually asks me the same question. Where are you from? How many of you have been wondering? A few of you. Okay, some of you know me already. So if I'm speaking in England, they think I'm from South Africa. If I'm speaking in South Africa, they think I'm British. If I'm speaking in America, here, well, people decide I'm Australian. So I can speak like an Australian, but I'm not going to do it here. Okay. Let's take that off. Yeah, it's better. Just for the record, I was born in Britain, but I lived many years in South Africa, and now I live in the USA. Still getting some feedback there. Yeah, is it good now? Okay. But this morning I want to talk about something much deeper than where we come from. My life has taught me something very important. Nations shape us, but consciousness shapes nations. Nations shape us, but consciousness shapes nations. I want to talk about who we are. And that couldn't be a more perfect fit with this week's CSL theme, which is who I am reflects how I am. At first glance, that sounds like a teaching about personal relationships, but I'd like to stretch it a little farther. What if it's also true of families, communities, churches, even nations? Who we are is being reflected in how we show up. What if the America we experience on the outside is a reflection of the consciousness we cultivate on the inside? Now, before anyone starts wondering whether this is going to become a political sermon, relax. It isn't. Science of Mind has never been about changing governments or changing politics. It's always been about changing consciousness. But when you change consciousness, everything else changes too. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, The Science of Mind, wrote, "Only that world can appear to us which we mentally perceive." Only that world can appear to us which we mentally perceive. If Holmes is right, and I believe he is, then every great transformation in history happened twice. First, in consciousness, and only later in culture, in the outside reality. Every great transformation in history, in relationships, in our own lives, begins as an invisible possibility before it becomes a visible reality. That's the law of mind. Mind with a capital M, or the law of consciousness. The invisible always precedes the visible. And perhaps nowhere is that illustrated more beautifully than in America's own beginnings. This past week, as we celebrated the 250th Independence Day, I found myself reflecting on the Declaration of Independence. Most people think of it as a political document. I don't. I think of it as one of the greatest vision statements ever written. Think about the courage of those 56 signers. They would have been executed as traitors if Britain had won the war against the colonists. They bravely declared that the Americans had the right to freedom, equality, and justice. They weren't describing the world they saw. Certainly, Negro slaves, women, and indigenous peoples did not have freedom, equality, or justice at that time, and in many ways still don't today. The founding fathers, though, were speaking from the world they intended to create. That is casting a vision. They were listening for something that wanted to emerge through them before there was any evidence that it could. And isn't that exactly what we do every time we practice spiritual mind treatment? Let's see who the practitioners are in the room today. I know Deborah's a practitioner. I've got some practitioners at the back, yeah. So that's what we as practitioners train to do. We're looking beyond the circumstances that are around us, looking beyond the appearances that our clients are dealing with, and going directly to the spiritual truth. We move away from a sense of separation, or I can't get my good's not happening for me. The divine is always there, and that's our work to know that. We don't affirm what is. We don't look at circumstances and say circumstances are real, because the more you look at what you've got, the more you get of what you've got. It's miserable. It's miserable. But it works the other way as well. The more you look at the joy that's happening in your life, the more joy you're going to get too. But typically, you've heard it, the conversations currently in our American situation, typically they can be negative. And so the more that you and I participate in the negative conversation, the more we're contributing to the problem. Stop it. Stop it. I want you to leave here today, starting right now, actually, and stop it. So if you catch yourself, and you can support each other in this community, if you catch yourself having a negative conversation with somebody else about the American situation, you stop it and you turn away from that and you look to the good. You have to look to the good. You have to be, I call it a sleuth for truth. You have to look at what's happening that's good and get your attention there. That will then multiply in your experience. If enough of us do it, we can create 51% critical mass. And that's what changes everything. As soon as we've got 51% critical mass of a positive consciousness about this country, everything will shift. Everything. I promise you. That's how it works. So we affirm what it is that we're seeking to become. And that's why I think visioning has something profoundly important to offer America today. Visioning is completely non-partisan. It doesn't ask which side is right. it invites us to ask a far more powerful question. What is trying to emerge through us now as one nation? What's trying to emerge through us now as one nation? I'd like to suggest this morning that Healing America doesn't begin in Washington, D.C. It begins in consciousness, right here, right where you are, right where I am. It begins with people who are willing to become the very vision that they long to see expressed in the world. And I'd like to share 3 stories that have convinced me this isn't just a beautiful idea. It's actually a spiritual law. Are you with me so far? Okay, so Holmes calls it the law of cause and effect. Any of you here listen to Abraham, Esther Hicks and Abraham? They call it the law of attraction. It's the same law. So what you think about becomes. So in 1985, I went to visit my mum in South Africa, and she had recently emigrated there. It was during the apartheid years, and the country was deeply divided. I planned to stay for a maximum of 2 months. I thought, I'm going to hate it. I'm not going to like it at all. It's under apartheid. I'm going to disagree with the system. I do not want to add my white presence to an already unfair system. So that was my plan. Have you ever had a human plan that God has then laughed at? So as the night that I landed in Johannesburg, I was in meditation and I heard my inner voice say, I have brought you here, and now it's time to get on with the work. And it was my inner voice, but it sounded like it was behind me a little bit, like a voice behind me. And I looked around and I wanted more information, like, what is the work that you're talking about here? I didn't really understand it, but in my soul, I knew that the work was about contributing to dismantling apartheid. And then within 2 weeks of landing in South Africa and hearing that message, I discovered the Church of Religious Science, which some of you may know is the old name that we have for Centers for Spiritual Living, or CSL. And I discovered the Science of Mind teaching. And I knew then that I had to stay in South Africa and study the science of mind. I knew that these principles would change my life. So most people in South Africa had stopped imagining that things could ever be different. Racial inequality had been the norm for over 300 years, and differently from America, racial inequality was written into the law. In 1948, it was written into the law that the 2 races had to be kept separate. At least in this country, you didn't have it as a legal precedent. So division had become normal, fear had become normal, separation had become normal. Is that sounding a little bit like what might be happening in this country, where these things, the division, the separation, is looking like it's an everyday occurrence? But in 1987, I'd been studying science of mind for about a year, just over a year. Something extraordinary happened. And not out there. It happened in here. During meditation at a board meeting of my CSL Center in Johannesburg, I received a vision. I saw a vibrant, multiracial, spiritual community. Blacks, whites, coloreds, Indians, all colors, all worshipping together under one roof. And in the vision, I was the minister. Now, I can assure you there was one tiny problem with that vision. I wasn't a minister. I wasn't even a practitioner. And I had just failed Science of Mind 1. And do you know why? Because I didn't do my homework. I thought I was special. I thought I could show up in class and be brilliant. I thought I could take my test at the end of the year and be brilliant. And my teacher, God bless her, Reverend Gladys, she refused to pass me, even though I did really well on my test. She said something important. She said, the law works when we align with it, not when we try to manipulate it. So I thought I could be special and get away with it. And if she had let me get away with it, I don't think I'd be here now. I had to learn a tough lesson. I have to work in alignment with the law if I want the results. The other problem with that vision was that there wasn't a precedent for a multiracial New Thought church anywhere in South Africa at the time. We're talking 1987, still under apartheid. If you were white, you went to a white church. If you were black, you went to a black church. Under apartheid, it was illegal for different races to mix socially. So building such a church was impossible and illegal at the time. But the vision was there. The vision of oneness was there. Unfortunately, Spirit has never been particularly interested in what we think of as impossible. It doesn't care. As we say in South Africa, there's a famous line often attributed to Nelson Mandela: "It always seems impossible until it's done." So that vision changed the direction of my life. It eventually brought me to America for ministerial training. It introduced me to Reverend Michael Beckworth and Agape in Los Angeles. Anyone familiar with Reverend Michael? A few people here, yeah. And that, at Agape, I saw for the first time the very kind of multiracial spiritual community that I had envisioned for South Africa. So in 1989, I started my studies in America. And when I got my call to return to South Africa in 1999, I've been training in the USA for 10 years. I founded Soul Home in South Africa in the year 2000, which is the first New Thought multiracial community in South Africa, just as I received it in the vision in 1987. Took 13 years to come about, but it came about. But by this time, get the magnificence of Spirit's timing. So when I had the vision, remember, it was illegal. I couldn't do it. It was impossible. But when I got back to South Africa with my Rev in front of my name, my ministerial training, South Africa had become a democracy in 1994 under Nelson Mandela. So it was legal and it was possible and it was encouraged to have a multiracial ministry. And now I have to talk about my hero, Nelson Mandela. Imagine spending 27 years in prison in extremely, extremely harsh conditions. The black prisoners were brutalized by the white prison wardens. Most people would have emerged angry and seeking revenge. Mandela emerged holding a vision of reconciliation, equality, and inclusivity. He refused to let prison determine his consciousness. He said that if we just replace the white system with a black system, we have made no progress. It has to be multiracial. We have to have equality and integration amongst all the races. So his disciplined and elevated consciousness determined the future of his nation. That's the power of visioning. It's not denying reality. It's transforming it. Today, South Africa still has many challenges. America does too. No nation is perfect. But I have watched one nation change dramatically within my lifetime. So from 1985, when I first landed in South Africa, to 1990, when Mandela was released from jail, to 1994, when the first democratic constitution was implemented. South Africa's gone from 10% of the whites oppressing 90% of the blacks, Indians, and coloreds to a rainbow nation with a multiracial government. Which means I cannot believe that transformation is impossible. No matter how dark it looks, I know that transformation is possible. Because once you've seen consciousness reshape history, you can never look at the headlines in quite the same way again. So here's the first principle I hope you'll remember today. Our outer world is always preceded by our inner vision. The question is never, what do I see? What am I looking at right now? The spiritual question is, what vision am I helping to bring into the world? What vision am I helping to bring into the world? Because once we begin living from that vision, the law begins to work in ways we cannot imagine. And that brings me to the second principle. Never let present circumstances define future possibility. I know I've talked a lot about South Africa, but I hope that you're seeing the parallel here in America right now. We mustn't let present circumstances define the future possibility. So one of the hardest spiritual lessons I've ever learned is this. The law is always working, even when nothing appears to be happening. Most of us believe in the law after we get a demonstration. So we do our prayers, something happens in accordance with our prayer work. We think, oh yeah, the law was working. But the real challenge is believing in it while we're still waiting. Can anyone relate to that? We pray, we vision, we affirm, we trust, and then nada, nothing. So frustrating, so frustrating. And then we ask ourselves, well, did I do something wrong? Should I fire my practitioner and get a new practitioner? Don't do that, don't do that. Stick with your practitioner. Did I not have enough faith? But Science of Mind teaches something very different. The creative process doesn't stop because I can't yet see the result. The creative process doesn't stop. It's always in motion. You do the prayer work, the creative process is in motion and will bring about the result. It has to. That's the way the law works. You plant a seed in the ground, as long as there's rain, as long as there's good soil, as long as there's sunshine, the seed must grow. The only way you stop it is if you try to drag it up too quickly, or if there's no water and then it dries out. So the law works, and everything that you plant in mind must have its result. And sometimes when it seems to be taking a long time, Spirit is rearranging hundreds of unseen circumstances before we can experience one visible change. So I want to tell you a story to illustrate this. Now, back in 1989, I came to America to study for the ministry. And I also, alongside ministerial training, I signed up at Founders Church in downtown LA for my first year of practitioner training. I still wanted to become a religious science practitioner. And I told my teacher in the prac class that my hopes for work and a green card had just fallen through, and he prayed for me for the right channels to open so that I would get a visa to stay in America and complete my studies. He spoke the word with clarity, with conviction. He was a wonderful science of mind minister. I believed him. I knew it was possible. There was only one small complication. The American Immigration Department wasn't quite as convinced as we were. So, year after year, I applied for visas, got declined. Eventually, when I got my inner call to return to South Africa and start my church, I knew I had to follow the call. But once I left America, I was convinced I would never be let in again. That was it. I was persona non grata because I had never been able to successfully get a visa to stay here. To all appearances, my dream had ended. Have you ever had a dream that seemed to die? A prayer that appeared unanswered? A vision that you quietly packed away because life told you it wasn't going to happen? Are you willing to put your hand up and let me know? Ever had that happen, that massive disappointment in love or in health or in finances, in dreams that you've had for your life? It just doesn't seem to be working out, and then you just kind of give up sometimes. So in 2019, this was 20 years after I left the USA, I was living in South Africa, and I signed up for a spiritual pilgrimage to Egypt with my teacher from Agape, Reverend Michael Beckwith. On the very first morning inside the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid, I stood next to another member of the group named Jim. This man here. As the pilgrimage unfolded, Jim and I began talking, and one evening, after talking for a few hours, I went back to my hotel room and I heard my inner voice say, "You've met the one. This is the man you will spend the rest of your life with." Oh yeah, that makes sense. Because once we started talking, I thought, I want to talk to this man for a really long time. Now, what you need to know here is that as well as praying for a US visa for over 30 years, remember I started in 1989, this is 2019, 30 years. So as well as praying for the US visa for 30 years, I'd also been praying for my soulmate for approximately 40 years. And God knows I'd kissed a lot of frogs looking for my prince. But finally I realized that I had found my true spiritual frog. No, really, he's a king, not a frog. On the last day of the pilgrimage, we all returned to the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid. And I asked Reverend Michael, "Please, will you pray for me to get a US visa so that I can visit America again?" I just had a US visa declined before I left for this trip to Egypt, so I really thought it was going to be impossible. So he prayed, and I remember I was looking at him as he was praying, and he just went like that, and I saw the whites of his eyes. He went inward. And then very quickly he came back down to earth and he said, "It's done," with conviction. I knew he meant it. And then he smiled and he joked and he said, "Maybe you should get married." Now the remarkable part is that Michael had no idea what had already unfolded between Jim and me. I hadn't said anything to him about the relationship or that we would be together. But the divine mind knew. So 2 weeks later, after asking Michael to pray for me before we went into the Great Pyramid, I received my US visa. The first in 20 years. Was that amazing or was that amazing? And in 2020, I came to stay with Jim during COVID. And in 2021, we got married. So 1 year later, and 1 year later in 2022, guess what? I got my green card. I got my green card. Woohoo! So remember that the prayer work for the green card started in 1989. It took 33 years. 33 years. So if you're waiting for a demonstration and you haven't waited 33 years yet, not that 33 years is the magical time, but just be patient and keep doing your inner work. But if I look back now, I realize Spirit wasn't answering separate prayers. It wasn't answering, oh, I need a green card, and it wasn't answering, oh, I need a soulmate. You see how the law works. This Spirit was orchestrating one elegant demonstration. The green card and the soulmate all wrapped up in one gorgeous bundle. That's how the law works. It sees possibilities that we cannot yet see. It weaves together circumstances we could never have orchestrated ourselves. Which brings me to what may be the most important point of all today. Visioning, doing our spiritual work, is not denying the present circumstances. Visioning is refusing to let present circumstances divine our future possibilities. If I had accepted appearances, I would never have returned to America. I didn't want to even apply for a visa. I was so scared that I would be told by the American government, no, we never want you back here again, never apply again, we reject you, we hate you. That was what I was making up in my head. But I had a practitioner who said, I'll hold your hand while you fill out the form. Because I was terrified to even fill out the form and get a no forever. If Nelson Mandela had accepted appearances in South Africa, we would never have a democracy in South Africa. If the founding fathers had accepted appearances in America, there would have been no Declaration of Independence. Each of them chose to live from a vision that was greater than the evidence before them. And that leaves us with one final question. Not what is happening in America today, but what is trying to happen through us? What's trying to happen through us? Not what's happening out there. What's happening through us? Because that's where the healing begins. Asking that question within. My last point. We become the vision we refuse to abandon. There's something I've come to understand after all these years, that visioning isn't simply about creating a different future. It's allowing the vision to create a different us. We're not creating something out there, remember. We're evolving in consciousness and allowing the vision of what we see and hear and know and sense to work within us to bring forth more of who we really are. Because every time we refuse to abandon a vision that comes from Spirit, something within us grows stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more available to the divine. So my last story. Many years ago, in 1993, while I was a ministerial student in Los Angeles, I visited the National Museum of Archives in Washington, D.C. Has anyone ever been there? It's the most wonderful place. I stood in front of the Declaration of Independence in its original form, and then later I took a look at the Constitution also in its original form, and I read those extraordinary words. With a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Powerful, huh? As I stood there, something unexpected happened. I wasn't simply reading a historical document. I was being moved by the sacred nature of these documents, recognizing that America was founded on spiritual principles with the intention of fostering the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. In fact, the spiritual illumination of everyone who came to these shores. I knew then and there that I wanted to become an American citizen, and I declared it to my best friend Harriet. She was also a ministerial colleague of mine as we left the museum. At that time, it was an impossible dream. Remember, I had no visa, no green card, and no pathway that I could see to get that stuff. So you have to have a green card before you can be a citizen. That's the order that it goes in. So there was no hope for me, I thought. And now, after waiting 32 years since my initial declaration in 1993 that I want to be an American citizen, And after countless closed doors, twists and turns, I will never forget that day, 23rd of July, 2025, when I stood with my hand over my heart and took the oath of citizenship. Awesome. That moment taught me something I'll never forget. A true vision doesn't simply change your circumstances, it changes who you become while you're waiting. Perhaps that's why I experience this country a little differently. Many Americans have become discouraged. Some have forgotten the extraordinary vision that gave birth to this nation. I haven't. Perhaps because I waited 32 years to belong here. I know America's story has never been perfect, but I also know something else. America's story has never been finished. In his eulogy for Congressman John Lewis, President Barack Obama spoke about America as an unfinished idea. So this is from his eulogy. Now, this country is a constant work in progress. We were born with instructions to form a more perfect union. Explicit in those words is the idea that we are imperfect. That what gives each new generation purpose is to take up the unfinished work of the last generation and carry it further than anyone might have thought possible. That feels deeply spiritual to me. A more perfect union. I understand that as a more perfect union amongst the states, but also a more perfect union within in our relationship with the divine. And Science of Mind teaches that creation itself is always unfolding. Spirit is never finished. It's eternal. Evolution never stops. Life is always inviting us into a greater expression of what is possible. So perhaps the question today isn't what's wrong with America, because remember, if you ask what's wrong, the universe will answer you. You'll get tons of answers about what's wrong. And is that going to help? No, it's not going to help. Remember what I said? We're going to stop talking negatively about what's going on in America. Did you remember that I said that? Yeah, okay, good. All right. We're going to look for the truth. We're going to look for the good. We're going to practice as religious scientists or spiritual practitioners. We're going to practice because our practice will make the difference. So what vision are we willing to hold until America grows into it? Are we willing to hold a vision of racial equality? Are we willing to hold a vision of harmony between the different peoples in this country? Are we willing to hold a vision of a warm embrace for those who come to these shores as immigrants? Are we willing to hold that vision? Just as the founders held a vision larger than the pain and the struggles of the colonists at the time. Just as Nelson Mandela held a vision larger than the prison walls around him and the racial division in South Africa. Each generation is invited to hold a vision larger than current appearances. So now it's our turn. We're it. What vision is trying to emerge through you? Because you have a piece of the puzzle. You're here for this time you have been born. There's no accident that you incarnated at this time, as we believe in the Science of Mind that we choose our incarnation, choose our parents, choose the time, the country that we're going to be born into, the language that we speak. We choose it all. So if you chose this, you chose to be here now. And that means that you have a spiritual destiny to fulfill in this country at this time. Healing doesn't begin when circumstances change. Healing begins the moment someone becomes willing to hold a greater vision than the world can currently see. So friends, I am building a movement of visionaries. And I am running regular visioning sessions online that you can participate in. The next one is Wednesday morning. I'm not trying to fix America, not trying to force outcomes, but we're listening together deeply for the highest vision that Spirit is already holding for this nation and for each one of us. And please come and see me afterwards at the book table and sign up for the visioning, or just sign up to be on my newsletter. And thank you for letting me speak today. It's lovely to be with you. Thank you. Oh, the prayer. So let's move into prayer now. So we're turning aside from appearances entirely, everything that seems to be turbulent or stressful or difficult or challenging or even violent in the outer world of effects. We're moving our attention inwards now to Spirit, to the divine life that is forever present, forever at peace with itself, in love with itself, enjoying itself, in harmony with itself. It never goes out of integrity with itself. It is never divided against itself. It would not know how. It is the one and only power. There are not two powers. There is only the one. And I am birthed of the one, and so too is each sacred soul in this sanctuary today and everyone who's listening on the live stream. Each of us is a divine emanation of the Most High God Goddess. Each of us is a magnificent and unique way that Spirit has revealed itself totally and fully through the flesh. And how grateful I am to speak this word, declaring absolutely that America is healed and whole, that every soul in this country is free, alive, awake, and aware, and that everything is unfolding in the direction of the highest possibility right now. I'm declaring that love rules the day. I'm declaring that harmony rules the day, that peace is the nature of being, declaring that anything that has happened up till now that no longer serves the holiest and highest vision of this country is now dissipating and dissolving itself. I know that each one here has a role to play in this magnificent vision unfolding, and I'm declaring that each one now is empowered from within to see the truth, to speak the truth, to know the truth, to focus on the truth, and to be the hands and the feet of the truth in every aspect of mind, body, and body of affairs. So going forward from this point in time, everything is unfolding in the direction of good. More and more good. How grateful I am to know this truth. And I know where there appears to be a shortage of finances or divine substance, that abundance is now the order of the day, that Spirit is abundantly revealing itself through and as each one here. And where there appears to be any kind of relationship conflict, knowing right now that harmony, again, is the order of the day. Harmony is the truth of being here. And where there appears to be any illness, pain, suffering, or physical discomfort, knowing that wholeness is the very roots, the very essence of the being of each one here. I bless this divine community, this spiritual community, Grants Path CSL, and know that the consciousness that is anchored and established here is right now, emanating forth and touching every corner of the planet. How grateful I am to know that Spirit is on the field and all is well. So I do give thanks for the outcome of this word spoken, and I give thanks that divine mind is forever here. Spirit is on the field. How grateful I am. I release the word into law. Let it be, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. Kiss my frog.
That worked. There we go. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, we are going to move into our prosperity sharing affirmation. So if you'd like to take your offering or just offering your love and share we will repeat together. Abundance is everywhere and in everything. I share my abundance graciously with this center, which gives so much to me and all of us.
This is just a little piece of a song that we've been talking about, that everything is there inside of us. And it's really about remembering. You can have it when you want it. Get it anytime you choose. You don't have to ask permission. You'll never be refused. Don't have to wonder what what it costs. No, you can have it for free. Don't have to worry that it might get lost, 'cause you always know where it's gonna be. And come back for more. You don't have to steal it, 'cause it's always been yours. Don't have to take it just a piece at a time. You can use it all from the start. Don't have to worry it'll leave you behind. It's always waiting here in your heart. There was a time that I lived with my head in the sand. I couldn't see what was true. The Spirit's been waiting right there at the door. And when you want love, you just walk right through. And you can have it when you want it. Get it anytime you need. Never have to live without it. Just take as much as you please. You can enjoy it every day, and under the stars at night. Don't have to worry it'll fade away, just like the sun and the moon. Love always shines, and you can have it when you want it. Love, never have to live without it. You can get it when you need it. Love.
Take a moment and speak a word of blessings over these gifts. I know that these are expressions of our limitless potential. They ripple out, creating goodness in our community, blessing both the giver and the receiver, and allowing this beautiful center to be open and thriving. I know that this sanctuary is here, ready for those who are remembering who they are, and for that we are all so very blessed, and so it is. And we have one more song from Chip.
Yes, we're gonna sing a song written by a friend of mine, another favorite writer, and it is "How Could Anyone Ever Tell You?" How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected something beautiful. How could anyone fail to know you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. Thank you. And my favorite words from Nelson Mandela: speak quietly, walk slowly, laugh hysterically.
All right, for our benediction. Let's stand up. Let's get ourselves moving here a little bit. I invite you guys to repeat after me. Something sacred is awakening within me.
Something sacred is awakening within me.
It flows through my thoughts.
It flows through my thoughts.
It breathes through my body.
It breathes through my body.
It blossoms in my life.
It blossoms in my life.
I welcome it.
I welcome it.
I trust it.
I trust it.
I am whole, complete, and free.
I am whole, complete, and free.
Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
See you next week. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Stephanie.